Hi there, everybody. This is Mary Glass. Absolutely. It's been a moment. Today is March 29th. Oh, yeah. 1 week before April 5th. Now, what does that mean to you, April 5th? We're talking about Milwaukeeans. We're talking about mayor. We're talking about elected individuals, two of them running for mayor at the present time, and on April 5th, 1 week from today, one of them will evolve to a 2 year term. 2 year term as mayor of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And hi, folks. That's what I'm here for. We have a number of things that we must do. Yeah, you know, we have just come out of the briar patch. And we're not really at a point to say, okay, we're not going to be back in that briar patch after April 5th. Because both of the people who are running are not qualified. Did you say they're not qualified? Uh-huh. Now, I said they weren't qualified, but that doesn't mean that they can't be qualified. But they're not going to be qualified by April 5th. Somebody's going to win, though. The hanky panky, the monopoly oligopoly, the power grabbers, the gatekeepers, those folks going to ensure most likely that the Democratic candidate will win. Now, we could be shocked, and the GOP, or they're saying he's GOP, we'll call names here. Bob Donovan. Bob Donovan will arise to the occasion, and he will kick butt. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And whose butt would he kick? Cavalier Johnson. Cavalier Johnson has sold his soul to the devil. Mary, Mary, Mary. Yeah, he's a young guy, a Milwaukeean, born and raised here as we hear. But Cavalier missed the boat on a lot of things. I don't know what kind of due diligence he received to set his sail. But his sail was set with Tom Barrett. And Tom Barrett did not give a damn about African Americans. Those 15 odd or plus years that man was here, he was all Caucasian and he was shuffling and doing all kinds of things that meant nothing but to his cronies. Oh, people like the MMAC, if we want to call organization, uh, Northwestern, the mutual insurance company who got the high rent district and the just magnificent area of Prospect and Wisconsin Avenue there for their uh, historic place. Those folks traveled and worked very hard to come through MMAC, Milwaukee Metro Association of Chamber of Commerce. That's where you find the people, or they were the people, that did the underpinning for Milwaukee 7. And Milwaukee 7 folks, those folks, they led the corruption here. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, I said that. And it was all for Caucasians, and they went outside to do it, but they chose the weak of us. who was the weak of us, but had all the wonderful amenities, resources. They were African Americans. They were people of color. They were people who were struck by poverty, work challenged folks in the 96.8 square miles of Milwaukee. And boy, those clowns went for broke. They had Marvin Pratt they went after him on steroids. Lied on that man, set him up, and made him look like he was not what he was. They were all kind. Whether you were talking about my Catholic brother down at Jesu, I'm sorry, who happened to be DA. He's got to do a lot. Now you got to do a lot of praying so that you all right. You did some wrong things. You also worked up there with when it came to 2000, where you had us slated for the prisons of incarceration. You sat there and led that, and all your friends, Caucasians, Caucasians, got together and said what was going to be in that, and of course, our folks went to jail. And so plentiful. We went outside of the state. We were in Tennessee, Texas, and neighboring counties, neighboring states, correction. We were paying them for space to send our folks to jail, and we're still doing that. So, the two people who are up for grabs to be mayor are coming after the not so ethical, not so ethical, unethical behavior of Tom Barrett. And before Tom Barrett, you had John Norquist. Now, we see how John Norquist turned his behind around and mooned the city in a harassment situation. And I'll say this because I was after John day and night with the kinds of things that he was doing. He had the power, and so therefore, he didn't have any sensibility with it. But he had the power. He was the head in charge. And I left the word out. And those of you who know what should be there, put it there. Because he was the head in charge. And he had a lot of ends. And by the way, when I say ends, I'm talking about all colors. That was standing around wanting a handout and got it. And it kept him in office. Now his own wrongdoing took him out. He's worried about it. His hormones took him on out. Oh, he was married. Yeah. Susan Mudd, who was also an attorney and working on issues to help the community. And so that took him on out. And he left town and went over to Chicago. Creating an urbanization type. Another, fly by night in a sense situation now. When I say fly by night, I'm saying that was his fly by night place to go. Now then, here comes Tom Barrett. Tom Barrett, just like Johnson, Cavalier, they both had about the same knowledge. However, Tom had more experience. See, Tom had gone and was up there in Washington, D.C. Oh, yeah, Tom had been around locally and served office. But Tom didn't have a backbone, and he still doesn't have one. That doesn't mean he doesn't do naughty things, because he has. And he continued. He's gone now because of a naughtiness that he's done. Oh, yada, 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 yada. Now, Tom, as I've told Tom, now he think he's gotten away by running over um, in Europe with a position of ambassador. 2 year, as I recall, it is. Was a 2 or 4 year term, and then that's to kind of let things die down a little bit, but it's not gonna die down. Tom, you headed for a stroke from a prison, from being given the thought that you're going to prison. Just so you know, those people who you've been playing around with and doing favor, they're gonna leave your behind hanging in the wind, just like you left us. Took our money, took our money, took our money, and individuals such as Cavalier Johnson bought the bait. And since Cavalier was lacking in so many things, he was persuaded easily. Oh yeah, easily. And I would add him as an Oreo cookie. Oh yeah, see now I call it like I see it. Yeah. And he's the kind of young man that's Mr. Barrett. He's the white boy. He's the white man. But he didn't have any backbone of his own. He did not. And he does not. And his counterpart for running is Bob Donovan. Now, Bob, as they have said in the recent weeks, has a very interesting little background here, Bob, for things that you've been doing and maybe still doing. To be honest, I think he would probably have been better if he didn't come back into the public square. Because you got some hound dogs out here. They're not going to let you easily. If you get it, you won't get it just by principle. Mm-mm. And you are not standing on enough things. You're planning to do too many mean-spirited things. So that's going to go against you. So I tell you folks, the good side of why I'm here. I'm here because I'm not looking at the 2 year. I'm looking at 2024. The 2 year is to set the sail of who we want in office on 2024. These two guys here are going to be the buffers for the crash of an intersector craziness of John Norquist, of Tom Barrett, and the scatter. You hear all these people who are making a break for it. You hear all these people who put their hands and stole all this money on the American Rescue Plan and the infrastructure plan and the CARES dollars and the various funding like the Tiger Fund through transportation and so forth and so on, and community development block grant. You even got Willie Hines. Oh yeah, brother Willie, brother Willie, brother Willie is making his second debut. Willie went for broke and slipped on a bar of soap. But Willie had enough markers to keep his butt out of jail. And so, and not only keep his butt out of jail, to find a spot that would house him, and he still was able to make money, money, as long as he kept his mouth closed. And those who he had markers on, they watched his back, so to speak. So now Willie, the man who had been there for scores and blows, Jose is gone. And here comes Willie again. Now Willie, now Willie, now Willie. Don't come here with this bull. Don't come here with the bull. Now, you know, you'll try to get slick, and not only slick, Willie, you'll become arrogant and go to acting like you got and own what you don't have. You listen to those Caucasian boys if you want. Hear me talking to you, boy, and you'll fulfill the quotas. All right. Now, what are some of the things that we need to do? We need to be sure to vote. Did you say vote? I said vote, folks. You have an opportunity to make those two people listen to you. Pick the person that you want to get in there. But you have to dress them up and dress them down. You can't put them in office because you didn't vote or because you did vote and turn them loose. They're not trustworthy. Donovan isn't trustworthy. Neither is Cavalier. They both owe their constituency, and their constituencies are not the core constituents of the city of Milwaukee. Therefore, they will continue the wrongdoing, and even more so than John Norquist and Tom Barrett. Did you hear me? You got people with the big lie going on like here. You got a black man, and the young man has a nice background that should take him far. Should, but you know he's playing dude with the hot boys. He can't think that, or if he thinks, because they can slap and hap and smile and have dinner and and wine and dine and play crazy. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You watch what I tell you. Just keep looking. It isn't long as it has been. And his daddy, Crump, he'll be talking to you. You better put it in check because you might lead him into the crazy house in terms of what happens to our folks. You guys are busy with your hands in a lot of pots. As far as Missouri, but further than that. Around town here. My problem with Lafayette is Lafayette disgraced the race. He looked us in the face and talked to us as though we were crazy. Certainly that he disrespected us. Come on, this and that. He and a woman who want a dog park downtown. Did you hear me? I said a dog, D-O-G, park. Posh dog park with our money. Not all our money, but you know, that's where they do all the time. You get our money, the people, the taxpayers, the co-constituents, the people of color, the work challenged individuals, the poverty folks, those who are residential, commercial, and industrial folks, the ones who give 30-year grants to the books and FISERV, and they just walk all over us. They make heaping billions as a result of it. Don't give anything. Rate of return. What do you get from these folks besides slap happy? Now, Peter knows about the discrimination. He met it, and before he knew it, he said it. And Tom Barrett didn't like that. Neither did the other Caucasians. Said let the quote people of color stay sleep or sleep, and let's take them down to two. And he said, well, cheaper to keep. Hmm. And with this, if you allow this to happen, your child and your children's children will make our history of Jim Crow babies play. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to get everybody you know to the polls, but not just get them to the polls. Have something in mind. What do you want from Cavalier Johnson? Cavalier Johnson and the Power Rappers, basically Caucasians. And uh, then you have gatekeepers, predominantly African American people of color, out of step, being paid off. And because of that, and you have people sitting around the Common Council who really need old women like me to get a switch and wrap it good and bring their tails inside and whoop them till they need to go to the toilet for doing what they and then kick their butts out of City Hall for the things that they have done and continue to do, and quote lockstep and quote unanimous. Jumping on standing committee. Do you hear me, Malele Cox? Your parents are probably jumping up and down in their grave, girl, with the kind of stuff that you've been pulling. See, folks don't know what you've been doing, Malele. You came in from Fisk. You didn't have a job. Oh, you jumped up and threw your shingle out, but you weren't doing nothing. You weren't doing it. And then you jumped over there at Marquette and took that course and ran till you were elected. And by the power of office, you began to bully certain ways because if people don't know, you try to be a little bully. Uh huh. Did you know that Shantae Hampton is supporting Bob Dunham? But he's not the only one supporting Bob Dunham. See, you got the shiners. These people not gonna tell you what they're doing. They're being paid off. Chris Averill has just been too busy. That's another person. Do you think Chris Averill is not in office because it's his lacking? Chris also have messed up, and that's the agreement. You can keep your feet on the ground as long as you don't mess up too much. You mess up too much and you gone too. And your daddy's mama, your mama's money, and anybody else won't hold you. And then, for people like Chris Abel, he probably do suicide. Or at least that's what they would say. Suicide. Yeah, I did say that. And I was talking about Chris Abel. These boys have been busy, I'm telling you the truth. And many of you already know that, know it more than I do. Because you've been party to it. Been party to it. We also got these foundations. Boy, these foundations have just gone book. Gone book. Milwaukee Foundation, Beta, Zyver, Coles, Cudahy, all these guys. This is how they've been able to continue the legacy of their foundation. And they have networked, and networked to the point where many of us don't think fat meat's greasy anymore. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's greasy, honey. Any food that don't think it's greasy, uh, uh, put you a piece up there on the stove and see what comes out. Well, my time was 25. I've gone over that. So here's where I'll stop, and I will say, we got a lot to do. This is Mary Glass. I'm the Chair, CEO, Chief Visionary Officer of Milwaukee Professionals Association, LLC. I'll be back.